Hi, second graders. This one is Iktomi and the Boulder. Another story about Iktomi, that trickster. In fact, take a listen to this, friends. Iktomi is the hero of many amusing stories. Iktomi is his Lakota name, but he stars in similar stories from all over North America and around the world. Coyote, Sinti, Old Man Nappy, Nanabuzu, that's Ojibwe, Sinkalip, Wihio, Veho, and others. Iktomi, or Ikto, is very clever, with unusual magical powers, but he's also very stupid. I hate that word. A liar and a mischief maker. He's forever trying to get the better of others, but he himself is usually fooled. The mention of Iktomi's name makes people smile, for he's always up to no good and always getting himself into trouble. He's beyond the realm of moral values. He lacks all sincerity. Tales about Iktomi remind us that unsociable and chaotic behavior is never far below the surface. We can see ourselves in him. Yeah, sometimes he acts in ways that are not your best self, but we know that we can feel those reactions inside of us. Iktomi is also credited with greater things. In many of the older stories, the creator entrusts him with much of creation. People say that what seem to be the mistakes of creation, earthquakes, floods, disease, flies, mosquitoes, were surely made by Iktomi. There's no single correct version of these stories. Storytellers kept to certain familiar themes and wove variations around them. Tales with a moral, but without any lecture, are told in informal language because Iktomi has no respect for the precise use of words. Here we go, friends. Let's read about Iktomi and the Boulder. Gone fishing. Back tomorrow. Iktomi was walking along. Every story about Iktomi starts this way. Iktomi was walking along. It was a beautiful morning. Iktomi was going to visit his friends and relations in the next village. My feather bonnet, my fan, my blanket. I'm looking my very best today. He was feeling happy with himself. He had painted his face and was wearing all of his very best clothes. Doesn't he look fancy? I bet the birds wish they had all my feathers. I'll look great at the dance tonight. How handsome I look, he was thinking. Everyone will be impressed. All the girls will want me to notice them. Iktomi is forever showing off, and then always getting into trouble. He never learns. The birds and animals stopped to look as he passed. Iktomi was feeling much too important to notice them. He never noticed that they were laughing at him. Well, now that doesn't sound kind. I really am very good looking. I look like a real chief. Yeah, just because you're not kind doesn't mean other people can be unkind either, right? That's two wrongs don't make a right. The sun rose higher in the sky. Iktomi was getting hot. He had a long walk ahead of him. His face paint started to feel sticky, and he wished he had not put on so many clothes. Feeling more and more uncomfortable, he sat down at last to rest in the shade of a great boulder. What a hot day, Iktomi thought. Why did I bring my blanket? I'll never need it. I can't be bothered to carry it any further. Grandfather, he said to the boulder, You know what a boulder is, second graders? A big, huge rock. Grandfather, he said to the boulder. Grandfather Boulder, I feel sorry for you. You are terribly sunburnt from sitting here so long in the sun. You have given me shade. I'm generous too. I give you my blanket to keep the sun off of you. Take it. He wasn't really generous at all, was he? Iktomi spread his blanket over the boulder and went on his way. I'll pick it up again on my way back. After a while, he noticed dark thunderclouds gathering like mountains behind him. I might need my blanket after all, he thought. Rain would spoil my beautiful clothes. I did give it, he said to himself as he walked back. A gift is a gift. Still, I need it. Anyway, it's much too nice a blanket to just leave on a rock. Boulder, he said, you don't need my blanket. You're only a rock. The sun can't burn you anymore. I was only lending it to you. That's not true, is it? Iktomi snatched the blanket off the boulder. He had not gone far when it started to thunder and rain. He sat down and sheltered under his blanket. Thank goodness I thought to bring my blanket. Look at that rain, second graders. How beautiful a way is that to illustrate rain? Remember what we call those clouds? Cumulonimbus. Soon above the rumble of thunder, he heard a different sound. It seemed to shake the earth. A regular thump, crash, bump, thump, bump, crash. Well, that doesn't sound like thunder, he thought. Whatever is that? He peeped out from under his blanket. That great boulder was bouncing and crashing across the prairie, straight toward him. Iktomi dropped his blanket and ran in absolute terror. I must get to the top of the hill, he muttered. The boulder cannot go uphill. He was wrong. The boulder pounded end over end right to the top. I must get across the river, he panted. That boulder will get stuck in the mud. Iktomi ran down toward the river, the boulder bounding and thumping close at his heels. That rock has a terrible temper. Anyone can outwit a rock. He ran this way. He ran that way. He just could not escape from the boulder. He splashed across the river, gasping for breath. He scrambled out the far bank and fell down exhausted. The boulder jumped the river in one mighty bound. Before Iktomi could get up again, the boulder rolled on top of his legs and stopped. Now, what is Iktomi going to do? Is this the end of the story? Help! Get off of me! Do you hear? What are you doing? Iktomi could not move. He struggled. He screamed. He hit the boulder. He pleaded. He cried. It made no difference. The boulder did not move. Now what do I do? Some buffaloes heard Iktomi, and they came to have a look. My younger brothers, Iktomi said. Iktomi has no respect. He calls everyone younger brother. Younger brothers, he said to the buffaloes, please help me. I was just climbing around on this boulder when it rolled over onto my legs. See, I cannot move. Roll it off of me. No, that wasn't true, was it? The bulls got their horns underneath and heaved and shoved, but they could not move the boulder even a little bit. The elk The antelope and the bears saw what was happening and they came to help. Come on, push! Don't be so feeble! That means weak. Don't be so weak. Look, even the birds are helping. Even the prairie dogs and the smallest of the four-legged ones joined in, but they could not roll the boulder off Iktomi's legs. They gave up and wandered off. What's the matter with you? For goodness sake, push! Darkness came, and the bats appeared with the rising moon. Ho, my younger brothers, Iktomi called out to the bats. This boulder has been saying rude things about you. He said, you're so ugly, you don't dare show yourselves during the daytime. This boulder said, you sleep upside down because you don't know your upside from your downside. He said some other things, but I simply cannot repeat them. Of course, Iktomi was making up stories again, wasn't he? What else can I tell them? They'll believe anything I say. It made the bats cross. More and more of them gathered. I told this boulder that he ought to know better than to insult his good-looking relatives. He even said that you don't know whether you're birds or animals, two-legged or four-legged. Furry birds, he called you. What a dreadful thing to say. The bats were furious. Suddenly, they started hitting the boulder. They darted this way and that, and each time they struck, pieces of the boulder broke off. Yes, furry birds, he called you, Iktomi shouted. Bats and pieces of rock flew off in every direction. Ha, that's done it. I always knew I could get even with that silly rock. Don't know your upside from your downside, Iktomi yelled. The bats swooped at the boulder and knocked off pieces until there was nothing left but little chips. That's right, Iktomi said to the bats. You taught that boulder a lesson. Iktomi went on his way again. What do you think Iktomi will get up to next? Let me think. What shall I do now? This story also explains why bats have flattened faces and why there are rocks scattered all over the Great Plains. I hope you enjoyed that.